to take a look at a disc that has kind of been a long time in coming. It was hinted at, and then Eric McCabe did a teaser video on it, and that is the Westside Bear. I've got the first run VIP Ice Bear here. Got this at a tournament the other day. The vendors had some, and I've been kind of interested in it, so I decided to pick one up. It has been teased as the big brother of the Stag, and for a long time I was a Stag thrower. For years I had a Stag in the bag, and actually there's one back there behind me on the wall that was my second ace disc. So for a long time I've had one of these in the bag, and I thought it would be interesting to see how the Bear stacks up with the Stag, since they're very similar. Now, if you're familiar with the Stag at all, you know that they're generally a slightly domey, tapered fairway driver. This one has a lower wing. This is actually one of the less stable ones, but kind of nice even dome is what you're looking for there. Really fine tip, and then scooped out underside. Now, they have run the VIP-X Stag, I think twice, and I've got ones from both runs. This one has been in my bag a couple times. Mainly use it for woods courses where I'm looking for something to turn up and ride straight with a very mild fade. And it's got a very similar profile. If you take a look at those side by side, it is slightly higher on the wing, but really profile wise, that's the biggest difference you'll see. So let's just get a look between it and the Bear. The PLH on the Bear is slightly higher, and the top is very slightly flatter, I feel like. It kind of evens off pretty quickly, and then it's pretty flat on top, whereas even the VIP-X there has a pretty good amount of dome. So I took them out in the field today. It was pretty wet and rainy, so I feel like my distance is probably 30-40 feet shorter than what I'm capable of, but I felt like it was still a pretty good representation of the flight. You could see it really well at the location I was. So you guys take a look at that. Hopefully you'll enjoy it, and we'll learn a little bit about the Bear. So it's wet out here, and I'm just gonna try to warm up some 50% hyzer shots. Bear rides out there nice, gets a little bit of bite, a little bit of skip, and ends up around 275. Real low shot with the Stag there, and it just kind of skids along the ground, about 260, 270 as well. Get a little bit of flip up with the Stag, and then it fades at that low speed. It was around 275. Get a nice flat shot there. Rides out over the fence and comes back. That one ended up pretty good. It was like 340. The VIP-X Stag on this one turns for a long time and comes back just over the fence. It was like 335. And I grip locked this one to hell, and it hit the bleachers. Given similar power on a low hyzer line, this one gets out there. It was like 325, lots of skip. The VIP-X flips up beautifully, rides that line on the hyzer, and comes down. It was about 330. And then this was a great little shot with the standard Stag. It just rides all the way to the ground straight. Not that far, maybe 320. Giving this one some pop, it hooks up late and hard. Ends up about 340. Very similar shot with the VIP-X, and it gets some late fade, but overall pretty straight. A little bit more height and a lot of hyzer on this one with the VIP Stag, and it gets out there, rides to about 330, and then sits down. Trying four hands. The Bear actually holds up to him pretty good. This one ends up the back of the end zone, so it's like 360, 370. And the VIP-X Stag turns over. It never really comes back, but still goes about 330. There again on a little bit of a hyzer, a little bit of a higher shot. It gets out there around 350 feet, showing a little bit of that turn and a nice late fade. With the VIP-X, I got this one a little bit more nose up than I wanted, but it still rides out to just over 300 feet and a pretty usable shot. Try a forehand with the regular Stag, and it just turns into a roller. It was actually one of my longest shots of the day. It hits the fence back there behind the end zone. So as you guys can see, even with the regular Sparkle VIP Stag, even when I hit it with a lot of hyzer, it would flip up and ride without much fade. On some of the ones where I gave it a lot of hyzer, it did flip up, ride fairly straight, and fade late. It had some of my longest throws of the day, but I was completely incapable of throwing it forehand. It's so understable, it just was very difficult. The VIP-X was a great disc, very straight, stable. You give a little bit of hyzer, it will turn, and the fade is very mild. Or if you get a little bit of hyzer, it'll drift some and then come back on you. I threw it okay forehand, not great, but I feel like it's a good do-it-all disc for a lot of people. And the Bear was terribly impressive. It liked that kind of attack line where you're going straight at the target, and then it gets aggressive on the fade. But as you can see on some of the flatter shots, you could make it turn. The numbers are 8, 6, -5, 2.5, and I feel like that's pretty accurate. I almost feel like the Bear is what the Stag was originally intended to be. If you don't know, the Stag was originally 8603, and they changed the numbers to 86 -12 on the newer runs. And I still think that's a little bit generous on the stability. I think most people find them, your average Stag is more like 86 -22, because like they turn, but they do fade a little bit. So I think maybe some Stags are more stable. I've got a couple tournament ones that are, and then I feel like the tournament X is actually those numbers. The 8, it's really more like 85 -12 is what the VIP-X is. But the Bear kind of is like what the Stag was originally intended to be with those numbers. And it's got some turn, it's got that nice biting late fade, and I felt like you could throw it backhand or forehand really well. So I enjoyed that, and hope you guys do as well. Thanks for tuning in, and give one of these guys a shot if you're a Trilogy fan.